Hi, I'm Joe Reynolds and I've been farming for 8 years, and I'm here today to talk about harvesting sweet potatoes. Right before harvesting the sweet potatoes, we mow down over the top of our sweet potato bed with the bush hog behind our tractor. What it does is it cuts down a lot of that thick, heavy foliage and gives us the ability to see where each individual slip was planted. We planted our sweet potatoes over a stage of 3 successions. The first planting was 500 sweet potato slips on May 1st. The second took place on May 15th with another 500 sweet potato slips. And then by June 15th, we were able to round up another 400 to complete our 5,000 square foot field. We determine when to harvest the sweet potatoes by 2 processes. The first is by just keeping track of how many days from the planting it is on the calendar. And then the second way we do it is by simply just taking a pitchfork into the field and randomly choosing a few plants to dig up to see if they've approached the appropriate size. I'm pulling some of the vines out of the way so that I can just have easier access to the sweet potato plants. I grow the Golden Nugget because I find it to be an incredibly sweet potato. It's an older seed variety, which I really like, and it also is one that's very easily available to me as well, as I buy them from a farmer that I used to work for. We choose to hand harvest our sweet potatoes with pitchforks because for me, I find that we have a lot less bruising on the sweet potatoes and they tend to store a little bit better that way. We dig each plant one at a time, moving in a linear fashion down the row. Another consideration for our timing and digging the sweet potatoes is I tend to like to wait 3 or 4 days after a rain because the soil moisture is really nice and we get those sweet potatoes to come out quite easily and the dirt actually separates from the root easily as well. That's a nice bunch. I like to harvest all of the sweet potatoes, the smaller ones and the larger ones. You always have a variety of sizes underneath the Golden Nugget, and I sell them at 2 different price points. And we sell these as smaller, or we, from a marketing perspective, call them fingerling sweet potatoes. And they fetch a higher price per pound than the larger sweet potatoes. After digging an entire row, we come back with wheelbarrows to collect the sweet potatoes that have been left behind in the paths, and then we transport them to the greenhouse where we begin the curing process. We cure our sweet potatoes by setting them up on tables in the greenhouse and putting a fan on them for about 24 hours. This takes a little bit of the moisture out of the skin. And then after that 24-hour period, I like to collect them and put them into cardboard wax boxes and set them back and store them in a cool room that we have that's kept at around 65 degrees. And then we let them sit for 2 weeks. During that time, a little bit of the starchiness that's in the sweet potatoes starts to become more sugary, more appealing to the customer. So these sweet potatoes have been here for 24 hours. We let this fan blow on them for that duration to just dry out the skins a little bit, dry off a little bit of this dirt if it's a little bit moist. We don't wash these guys, really ever. I prefer to take them to the market a little bit dirty, but that doesn't make them the most appetizing. So some farmers will actually spray them down a little bit before going to the market and let them dry. They do look a little more pretty that way. Just get the box nice and snug. Seal the top, and then we'll go put it away. If we keep the sweet potatoes at somewhere in between 65 and 70 degrees, it's quite easy to hold on to your sweet potatoes for somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 months. And that's how we harvest our sweet potatoes.